getting ready to push these vintage tuner knobs onto these vintage no-line Kluson tuners, and I wanted to show you my jig setup. So I basically took a scrap piece of 1x8 or something like that, and then I drilled the appropriate holes. I think it was about a 1/4 inch. I went one size larger just so I could have a little bit of slop, and I went ahead and put one hole where each of these went. And then I mounted the tuners to this board. You'll have to excuse the lighting, it's not very good. Just a little peek here at my jig, and these slightly larger than 1/4 inch holes. Appropriately spaced, which I just set the tuners here and traced them. You can see here I didn't even get close, but there was still enough slop in all this that everything went in. It went in pretty well. As you can see, the C-clamps here holding that to my surface. So now I'll have a good surface that I can push down onto after I heat up these posts and slide those tuner knobs on. I've seen a lot of people use vices or use pliers or things like this. It seems like if you get it hot enough, finger pressure is good enough to make it go. But this is the way I thought with my setup would work the best. So we'll see. I should mention that as kind of a fail-safe to keep these from going too far, I found some pliers that are 3/8 of an inch, which is what this offset should be. And so I'll just be putting those loosely on there to kind of give me a stop so that I don't push the tuner buttons on too far. Okay, I've got the tuners pressed on. It did not go as well as I'd expected. I was a little bit reluctant about, or I guess I should say concerned about my soldering iron. It's a 40-watt soldering iron, and it did not have enough thermal capacity to heat up the shafts appropriately. So what I ended up doing was getting a heat gun, and I ran the heat gun up and down the shaft and also into the tuner body. I heated it up pretty good, and then I counted to 120. Heated up an additional 2 minutes. Then I put the soldering iron on there to maintain the heat while I pressed the knobs on. And I didn't quite get to 3/8 of an inch like I'd hoped, but I got pretty close, and much less than what I was hoping to get in the first place when I'd originally kind of decided where I wanted to get. So I'm right in between the what I originally wanted and my adjusted value of 3/8. So it's pretty good. So I would say if you do not have an adequate soldering iron, do not attempt to do this. Find one that works, or else you could cause some deformities in your knobs. Hopefully this is somewhat helpful to someone out there as they attempt to do this on their own.
I've got the original tuners back on this 1951 LG 1 student guitar, and they look pretty nice. One side, as I mentioned, I'm not really extremely happy with, and maybe the next time I change strings on this guitar, I'll buy some more knobs. I still have the fixture I created. I know a little bit how better to do it now with the equipment that I have on hand, and I can get this done a little bit better. You can see here, I'm not sure if you can see that part of that shaft, it's kind of protruding through right there. There's also a little bit of melting where it kind of made a little dimple as it went in. So this side is not great, but for now it'll work, and I know how to do it. I can do it again in the future. For now, this guitar is back to as close to stock as I can get it. It's probably better than it's ever been after having gone through this dramatic repair, and now it's got a new case, so it's gonna be a lifetime guitar now.